My name is Joe. These are just opinions. My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joe Opinionated. My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joe Opinionated.
You've seen him before, Jordan Venn from Jordan Venn and the Slizneys. It's just a joke, but anyways, yeah, I might have that out.
Well, we don't like jokes here, Joe.
Okay, sorry. My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joe Opinionated. Today is a record release party with my man, Jordan Venn. The group is Jordan Venn and the Slizneys. The album premiering today, so it's on all the streaming services, is called Magic Words. We have the man here via satellite, Jordan Venn.
Good to be here.
Where can people find the album? Like, which streaming services is it available on?
The internet streaming services, Spotify and iTunes. I think the two main ones there. I think Amazon Music has it. Deezer, Tidal.
CD release party where we talk about Jordan Venn's new album, Magic Words. Jordan Venn and the Slizneys, home base Toronto, and former home base Port Alberni, Vancouver Island, Canada. Or we're going to be talking about the songs, each song on the new album. They're going to be talking about some of the motivations behind the album. There's a little bit of a theme that I'm hearing anyways. I've been privy to the album for a week now. I absolutely love it. So also a reminder, like and subscribe. This is on the Joe Opinionated channel. And it'll also be on Jordan's channel, Jordopia. So yeah, so a reminder to like and subscribe. So hit a like on the video here. Okay, guitar. Where'd you get started with guitar?
I started playing. I took lessons from Dennis Olson, started when I was 8. I wasn't very good. I wasn't that interested in it. Dennis was a great teacher, but I was a bad student. And then when I was 11, my sister's friend, Dave Marr, made me a cassette. And the first thing on the cassette was Smells Like Teen Spirit. The first song on the cassette was Smells Like Teen Spirit. And he showed me power chords. And he's like, these are what power chords are. And he's like, this is how you play this song. And I spent like the next week learning the entire album, Nevermind. And that's kind of how I got my start in playing rock guitar for real.
And that was where were you taking lessons? Which city?
This was in Port Alberni. Yeah, I think Dave is now the principal of the school, the high school in Port Alberni. Interestingly enough,
that's not bad. Port Alberni's probably got like 30,000 people. I'm assuming somewhere around there.
I think it has more like 20 now. It used to be 30,000 back in the day, but I guess it's growing again. It like took a steep decline.
When did you first join a band? What was your first band when you first joined a band?
And so Trevor's dad was my band teacher in junior high, and he would let me, or if we had a bass player, but he'd let us into the band room at lunchtime and we'd jam, me and Adam. We'd play Nirvana. Yeah, I guess that was 13 or 14. I probably had my first band, summer of 94. All the grunge stuff was happening at this time, right?
And Jordan moved on to Vancouver Island University. I think it was Malaspina College at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
And joined the jazz program there, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Jazz program.
Started to form the members for this album here.
Yeah, that's right. Let's Party by the Fine Swiss Timepieces.
For me, this is a big deal because I used to go to a ton of your shows in Nanaimo back in the day, at the Queens especially. So this is a great album. Who was on this album again?
It's Tristan Clark. It's Jim Bennett. It's Tyson Finley, and it's Nate McKay. There it is. Yeah, I made that on Paint, Microsoft Paint.
You're really good with that Microsoft Paint. Jordan ended up leaving Nanaimo, or leaving Vancouver Island for Toronto. Formed a few bands there over your time in Toronto. What kind of bands were you in at first out there? I think Green Gods is maybe one of them.
Yeah, Green Gods was actually, what's interesting about that, I'm like such a weird talker when what's interesting about that is the bass player on that also appears on the new record. So no, Tristan Clark, that was I think a brainchild of Tristan Clark, the Green Gods. I can't remember all the details exactly, but I do remember us crossing the road across from the Mississauga along McQuaid, going to the park on break. We were both teaching there, always wanted to name a record rock and roll charcuterie. And I'm like, what's charcuterie? He's like, it's like a bunch of meat. And so I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we got Marco Sternelli um and Tyler
Tyler.
Emo,
Yeah.
yeah, to play bass on that. And then we actually like I probably played more shows in a smaller amount of time with that band than any other band that I've had in Toronto. We played a lot and we sounded fucking awesome. Just because, it's like what was on the record was what we were playing, and I mean, Tyler and Marco just have such wild kind of pocket, and they really gelled together, and Tristan's such a beast. It was just like kind of an easy no-brainer Clutch-esque band, right? So stoner metal.
It's funny because that CD, it looks like salami, right? Or charcuterie.
Yeah,
But
that's right. Yeah.
when I first saw that, I thought of that Ween Craters from the Sack, which is like a close up of one of their ball sacks or whatever, is the cover of it. I remember sending Tristan a song, Sucking Blood from the Devil's Dick off of Craters from the Sack. And anyways, he's like, I hate it. Every time that's the reminder comes up for that song or whatever, it's just a giant picture of this guy's sack. What is the order of your solo records? Because you've this is now, I believe, number 5. Is that right?
This is the 4th Slizneys record,
Okay.
which is like technically it's sort of solo, it's sort of not, right? So
Right.
I mean, it's
Well,
definitely a band, but I've just like it's the band that I write for, essentially.
we'll talk about the members here in a second. But what are the albums in order?
Certified Organic 2013. Yeah, nice. Shonchon, Shinchin. I'm gonna butcher that. The second one, 2015. That one didn't do as well as I had hoped it would do, and then I didn't write for a while because I was like kind of bummed out. And then Life is a Shipping Lane was 2022, I think. I'd had the idea. I had Life is a Highway in my head while doing the dishes, and I'm like, life's not a highway. It's bullshit. It's a shipping lane. It's like that whole record is just pure cynicism. And like even more so than the one that I wrote entirely about the Canadian government, with each track is named after a part of the Chinese government. Me at my most cynical, probably that whole record. It's a mid-pandemic record, and then this one, Magic Words 2024. Friday the 13th, 2024. All right.
Booyah. And
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about who's featured on the album before we get into production. Who are your bandmates on this album?
On this album, it's slightly different than the full band, because I wanted to make it a Nirvana-esque sort of trio or a Stone Temple Pilots-esque quartet sound. And so it's just me and Trevor Falls, who drums on all the records. Devin Henderson, who was the original bass player of the band, but he tours all over the place. He's super busy all the time, and he's just too busy to finish it up. So we said, okay, let's get somebody in to finish the last 4 tracks, and that's Tyler Emo, fabulous bass player. Had just opened up his new studio, Ghost Town Studios, fired those off to me and sent them away.
So yeah, let's get into the production. Where was this album made? Who produced?
So with most Slizneys records now, minus the first one was a bit different. This one, we go to a guy named John Dinsmore. It's Lincoln County Social Club. John's a bass player himself. He has this great studio, Lincoln County Social Club. It's like 2 floors. The control room's in the basement. The main floor has like a bunch of old like barnwood and cow skulls, and he's cool vintage drums there. We went there. Usually the process of what happens when we make these records, is I go and I record the demos with MIDI. The drums sound terrible, but I send them to Trevor Falls and go, learn this. And he goes, actually, you can't play this because you would need 4 arms to play this shit. And then he'll send me a few memes about guitar players writing drum parts. And then he works something out that sounds really, really good. We'll go into the studio together, and he'll bang them off. I think this one we finished in probably about 6 hours total. After that, I send it to Devo, and in this case, the four last ones for Tyler, and they send those back, and then I record after I've like it already has guitars on it, but then I'll re-record the guitars so they're not scratched, and re-record the vocals so they're not scratched, and so everything sounds like it's all played together at the same time. And that's this one though, we were actually part of a few songs in this one were about the I wrote in anticipation of us possibly going to Bat House Studios in Kingston, where the Tragically Hip recorded a bunch of their records, including Trouble. So which is one of my top 5 all-time favorite records, and probably Phantom Power's not far off. Yeah, I wrote Ghosts kind of about my anticipation with that experience, and I wrote The Universe is Altered shortly after that as well, which is just basically about kind of how I felt about Gord Downie dying, the kind of the surprise of being like actually sad for somebody that I had only met a couple times ever. And Tristan Clark texted me the news, hey, Gord Downie died this morning. I was like, oh, and I was pretty bummed out all morning. I was at work, and I think I wrote Tristan back, man, I'm actually pretty bummed out about this. And he's like, yeah, me too. But I mean, he meant so much to so many people. So now, anytime you have something like that, you gain some empathy for, people like the people that were sad when Michael Jackson died. I was like, you didn't know him. Who cares? I mean, Gord was still putting out cool stuff. So I didn't finish telling you everything. Rick Salt, who I've got to, has been involved in basically every record I've ever done.
Where's Rick?
Rick Salt is a Nanaimo engineer, mixing and mastering. He has Mountain View Studio in Nanaimo. He was one of the guys at the Queens who did sound pretty often. Him and Richard Knott, 2 soundmen that would pretty much always be doing the sound at the Queens. And we actually did that entire Let's Party record. That's why it sounds so good. We did it in studio, Rick's old studio just below the Queens. Like, we recorded everything there. We recorded everything live, I think, as well. That was a nice time in my life. And then we would go to Nanaimo River every day afterwards, go to Tropical Paradise. I hate to be one of those guys that peaked in his 20s, but I fucking was.
We had it so good. We didn't know it at the time.
I know. It's kind of sad thinking back now, but so Rick mixed it, and then I got a local guy, Noah Mintz, to master it at Lacquer Channel Studios. I love working with Rick. He's kind of a genius or whatever. So
he's the guy to know on Vancouver Round, 100%.
Rick is, 100%.
And Richard Knott's a hell of a guy too. Great guy.
I love Richard. He's really cool.
Sound for Trooper, is that right?
Oh, I probably. I'm sure they've both done sound for a ton of different acts. But Did he tour with Trooper? Richard
I feel like he did. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
I always liked Richard's stage mixes. Either one of those guys, having them in the booth there was like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, they're sound weirdos, but they're not shitty sound weirdos. And like, I don't know, I've played a lot of places where the sound men are
obtuse.
Yeah. No, those guys are always fun to work with. They're a bit of a party.
All right, let's talk a bit about what are the themes behind the album here, Jord? Because that was kind of, you were letting me know about the album a few months ago, and you said you had some pretty strong themes. So let's talk a bit about that and why that's important to you.
Sure. Well, I mean, the whole idea of the record on its own, the concept of the record, if you will, it's just an homage to the grunge era, basically, and more specifically, I really wanted to put something out in the summer of '94, or the summer of 2024, which would be the 30th anniversary of 1994, which I personally think is, if not the best, at least one of the best summers of music, and not just in terms of the music, but also the music videos were really cool that were coming out at the time as well. it was just a fun time. Lots of really cool records that came out, and the good records start to finish, right? So yeah.
And man, you really pick
Yeah.
up those 94 vibes with a few different spots. And I'll
Yeah.
point those out. I've listened to the whole album and made notes on each song as well.
Okay.
You know, like we said, this is a new album out today, Friday the 13th. We're in September 2024. The album's Magic Words. It's M, and it's one of those at symbols.
Yeah.
GIC, W, one of those little asterisks.
Yeah, that's right.
RDS,
Yeah.
Magic Words. Tell me a bit about the cover here, Jord.
So I went on to one of those internet work sites where you can hire an artist
Okay.
to do work, and I looked around for a bit, and I made a few queries with people, and some of them seemed like body. They just didn't seem like they were a real human being
Right.
on those work websites. And you know, with AI and everything, specifically trying to hire somebody to get away from the whole AI thing. I don't know if the artist used AI in creating this image. I have a friend that says, who's like in graphic arts, that said possibly they did, possibly they didn't. But obviously I'm still hiring a person, so whatever. And she, you know, like any changes that I wanted, she made pretty much to exactly what I was saying. So
It's very
pretty good job, I think. Yeah, it's a digital freehand by an Italian artist named Lorraine S. 2 Easter eggs in this thing. The first is that I'm supporting my fellow left-handers by making the witch left-handed. Yeah, I'm a southpaw. Always have been. The other one is the 90s. Oh, I'm pointing to the screen like you can see my hand. There's a 90s choker, a 90s style choker. If you were to zoom in and look at her neck there, that's like, you know,
Okay.
those
I can
ones
do
that, which I thought was like a hilarious idea, because you know, it's an homage to the era. So, you know,
sounds
yeah.
good. Now, for each
Ready.
track here, we're going to be listening to little bits here as well. Jord's also created these as well. Where did you create those on Microsoft Paint, Jord?
No, there's just pixel art, I think it's called, pixelart.com, where you can just draw pixel art. Though I looked for Microsoft Paint, but I couldn't really find an online one. So this one was good. It was free. You guys want to look at some fossils? This is a trilobite pygadium. That's pretty cool, hey? No eyes though, but I do have one. This one's from Morocco. Probably has some glue action on it, maybe, but it has some eyes on there. That's pretty cool.
Let's have a little listen here.
Closest point.
Let's have a little listen to the first track. I
All right.
think this should work.
There we go. Thanks.
Thing that we always do in the middle of this life. I love how the lyrics repeat. It almost creates like a bit of irony at the end or whatever. I like when artists do that. I always think of Beck, Dead Weight. The music drags, the music drags, the music drags at the end of the song.
Okay.
I love
and he's
that.
dragging on it?
He's dragging it.
What record is that off of?
It's off of the Life Less Ordinary soundtrack between Odelay and Mutations. And
Okay.
And I think it finished number 2 on Joe Opinionated list on this channel. So check that out, my backlist.
But I mean, like, it's like a lot of my songs about humans kind of fucking up, not able to get out of our own way, doing the same old thing that we always do, which is, you know, like often the wrong thing for us is it primarily. But yeah, it can be about any loop in one's life. But yeah, primarily it's like, here we go again, you know, the same old shit. Same old shit that we always do.
The second track's called Let Me Down. Allison
So-
Chains and Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, I mean both are big influences on this whole record, but this song specifically, I would say, is like very much both found.
What's coming, it's your fault.
How many layers you got on that for your vocals, George?
Vocals, the first one is 2, the second one is 3, and the last one's 4.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
4 harmonies. I can't remember if I doubled them or not. I think I might have doubled them on that one
Man, it sounds
that's
so good. I love the production on this album.
because I wanted it to be like a Mudhoney or like a Nirvana or whatever. I just wanted it to kind of have that one part. You go play it live. What's on the record is what you're going to hear.
Third track on the album's called Influent.
You know me, I love to make up a word. So the usage on this word that I'm using is if you have affluence, you're affluent, and this is if you have influence, you're influent. The real world word is influential, but it just doesn't work with the meter. So the selfie class, as it were. So it's kind of the reason that I use the like Shakespearean pronouns in it is like to add the gravitas of how important taking a picture at sunset with your mojito is.
Let's get some subscribers out there. Hit that like button if you guys are watching.
Smash
some
it.
Some more comments in the comments there. It's a taste of Influent.
It catches you perfectly, like the horizon captures infinity. There's a frame, it's a gateway, distortion ripples of reality. I'm beckoning to you to come through with me. Oh, use your influence, ye who are influent. Thy currency currently, oh, one and current. Oh, what influence, thou influent, ye who are influent, thine influence.
The entire song is just digs.
Okay.
Yeah, the entire song. It's adding gravitas where there is none. That's my brand, right? Is writing something that is seems to be like, oh, how pretty, but it's really just making fun of shit. Can you tell what this one is from the?
Yeah, it's lasagna.
Yeah,
It comes up in the lyrics quite a bit. But let me see what I wrote down here. Case of the Mondays. That's just a lyric from a song. World is a nightmare. I feel safe here, safe in my bubble.
nightmare. Yeah, did you catch what that was to the side in the
Cat's paw.
Yeah, it's cat's paw. Okay, good. So you know what the song is about? Basically, it's about Garfield, the ode to Garfield. Well, it's about my cat too, but like I use Garfield as an avatar for all cats because he's kind of an every cat.
I've got an odious feeling. I've got a mind to get on in these familiar spaces. I'd like lasagna.
Go get this album on whatever streaming platform you're using, Apple, all those sort of things. Support the Jordan Venn and the Slizneys. There's a great build in almost every single track. When you're listening to the albums, let us know too. Put something in the comments.
This one is like about charlatans basically, but it's about Tony Robbins. I just watched this Stephen Woodward video on Tony saying some dumb shit that he kind of took apart, and I've always kind of thought the guy was a bit of a snake. So people that tell you they have the answer, televangelists or whatever, they're all just kind of rotten people, right? They're making omelets and they don't care how many eggs they break. the thing I really don't like about it is they're preying on desperation. You know, like all the people that attend these things that are, you know, spending thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, it's just like people that can't afford this shit, people that are desperate for something.
Person falsely claiming to have special knowledge is a charlatan.
Right.
Deceiver of the simpletons, one of my favorite lines there in the song.
Yeah.
The drums really stand out to me on this song. And so that's Trevor Falls.
That's Trevor Falls. Yeah, those toms sound huge. Hey, there's that
Yeah.
occasionally go.
Don't you run hot to you? You filthy hustler, you. You doggone artist, you. You are even sicker than I'd ever imagined. Mega phony little man. People will listen to whatever you say. They're even clinging to whatever you say. It sounds good to you. Whatever you say, you think it's true, but you're a fucking charlatan. You're a human
This next one takes a little bit of explaining.
Okay. Yeah. Did you get the image on?
Heart World War WW1 is greater than SPQR Heart. What is SPQR?
SPQR is the it's originally a I'm gonna screw up Latin, so I'm not even gonna try it. But it's the public works of Rome. I love World War One more than I love Rome, which I still love.
I've been thinking about World War One. They've got a flair for war more than I've been thinking about Rome. Here's a proposition: nothing is true.
Girlfriends asking their partners, "How often do you think about Rome?" I mean, she's like, "Hey, how often do you think about Rome?" I'm like, "Probably once or twice a week." Like ancient Rome, like once or twice a week, probably.
I mean, I love history. I'm a history buff for sure. But I mean,
There's a podcast called Hardcore History by a guy named Dan Carlin, which
Okay.
if you haven't listened to,
I
you don't know
haven't.
what it's totally amazing. He does long form podcast episodes, and there's this one called Death Throes of the Republic, and it's 4 or 5, or maybe 6 episodes. The Ptolemies were basically like Cleopatra is of the Ptolemaic line. Ptolemaic, is that the right conjugation? Alexander's one of his best friends, when he died, took over Greek Egypt and ran for generations. His family ran that, and Cleopatra is kind of the last of that line.
next to a man. Now a penny in the mud has lost its shine amid all the metal and muck. So much more metal than an ancient mind could comprehend. And a rat scurries off of a finger. So many unidentifiable remains. Nothing's forever, but it seems like forever has already come in this campaign. It's hard to imagine, but I'm gonna try. It makes sense to me to try. I've been thinking about World War I more than I've been thinking about Rome.
This next song, Ghosts. I got big acoustic guitars. It's funny because so you told me already a little bit about the meaning behind this at the start of the episode, but
Yeah.
when I was listening to it, I actually got a bit of a 70s feel from this song,
Okay.
the acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And then I was thinking like, okay, maybe he's means ghosts as in like, the ghosts of past coming through in like the 90s music, or I don't know. That was kind of where I was going with it when I was listening to it. So that's what it meant to me.
Yeah, okay. That's really close to what it was. I would say that more than anything, this is like sonically inspired by Haydn. That kind of like listful, kind of slow, low guitar, low voice. I mean, I don't sing very low on it, but it's like, you know, that song "Girl of My Dreams" by Hayden, or as bad as it seems, I think "Girl of My Dreams."
Yeah.
That's kind of what I had in mind when I was writing that one.
To rest his head back on the floor. Feel the ghosts in this place. Feel the ghosts in this place. If I could talk to them, I'd ask them all my questions.
Is that
Right.
your Martin guitar?
That's my D35. Yeah, that's correct.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super pretty. I like how you hit the same chord as you're singing on a couple, to end off each verse. And yeah, it just sounds it's very pretty. I love it.
Yeah, that 7 chord really sings. It's an open tuning.
Okay.
And yeah, that 7. It was that was a fun one to write. I kept changing the tunings. Originally it just started out in drop C. Yeah, you go to Massey and it's just like, think about the people that have performed here. Think about, they don't even have to be dead people, right? It's just like the people that were in this place, just the general feeling that we have of them. It's not actually, there's no actual residual energy or anything cosmic like that. It's just like these fabrications in my head from the feeling I get from being in a place that I know has had these legendary performances, or these people, and like trying to organize the guys during summer to go to Bat House in Kingston to record would obviously be like a really thrilling thing.
So yeah, the next song on the album, song 8, is Promise. I've got as my notes, big clean riffage, big drums. Actually, I think I used this one in one of the reels promoting this episode. Feel this texture, pleasure.
Felt and measured. The original bass line that I'd written was the bass is following the guitars in chord. Ding, 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 ding. Very kind of early Soundgarden-ish. Like the song "Birth Ritual," I think, has a part like that. That's deeply ingrained into my
Psyche,
my subconscious. That tune.
That's fun.
But then Tyler sent this part over, and I was like, oh my god, that's just so good. There's no way I can let that one slip away. It's not what I had envisioned for it, but it's just so much better. So I gotta generally Devo and Tyler, when they go off script, it's always like something that's like pretty wildly good. You know what I mean? It's like, it's usually something that's like, wow. There really is something to be said about knowing the instrument that you're writing for.
Love that.
It's a Rorschach of a feeling, reaching out and discreetly through the fibers, programming expectations, examining.
This next song's Occam's Guillotine, and Occam's razor. So it's William of Occam, and when faced with competing explanations for the same phenomenon, the simplest is likely the correct one. The best explanation is the one that makes the fewest assumptions. In the song, this here, they are assumptions, and over here, Occam's Guillotine. Making angry voices, consider your choices.
Yeah, this one's kind of a you have these guys, these billionaires that are making the world worse, sometimes through their platforms that they've created, and they're off building fortresses in Hawaii, not remembering things like the French Revolution. They're building fortresses to protect themselves from this world that they've created. And their assumption is that within those fortresses that they're going to be the ones in power. Things are good for people in power for a long time until they're not. If society falls apart and they have to retreat to these things, it's not going to be them that's the king of these fortresses. It's going to be their head of security.
They made their choices right here. I'll consider a scene. This here, they had assumptions, and over here, Occam's guillotine. They repeated mistakes, mistakes of the past, mistakes that we wouldn't make. Wait, is that just a mistake? Something unconsidered, a troubling take. Consider for a
Have you ever seen that Far Side where the nerds are like have a tape recorder and they're like, does my voice actually sound like that? That's how I always feel when I hear my voice.
10th song, Surf Confessions, is, in my opinion, the funniest song on the album. I'm really proud of
Oh.
you for making some surf confessions. I feel like these are personal. That's big of you. I've been boogie boarding with Jordan before, and Jordan knew a lot about it, and he had been there quite a few times. I knew that. It was a very
I can boogie board, I just can't surf for
it's hard because we're from Canada, okay? And so
Yeah.
where we both would go surfing in our 20s and teens is a place called Tofino, Long Beach, sorry, on the west coast
Long
of the
Beach,
island, or
Chesterman,
Chestermans.
Fox,
Yeah.
Florentia sometimes. Wick.
And yeah. And so George lived closer. He lived in Port Alberni. So you obviously went a lot more than I did. To learn in cold water, like you basically got to be there a lot.
That's the thing, is if you want to get good at surfing, you have to do it every day for a fairly long time. You have to
And
get
it's-
strong at it. You have to develop those muscles, and you get those muscles from doing it. You get the experience from doing it. This one's Weezer acid, by the way.
What?
This one is surf wax.
freaking suck at surfing. I hate to say it. If I could, I'd every day it. I don't have the stamina, I don't have the waves. I tend to panic when the ocean misbehaves. I suck at surfing. Surf confessions. Surf confessions. Now you know my shame. I freaking suck at surfing. I wish it weren't true. I can paddle for a while. Not much else that I can do. I suck at surfing. After each passing set, it takes time to regroup. Longboards feel so clunky. At least I can stand up in the soup. I suck. I suck.
The End Is Near is the second to last song.
Penultimate, as we call it.
Penultimate song on the album here. The End Is Near. Let's play a little bit of it. I wrote that I love the phrasing on this track, Jord.
Okay, great. This one didn't work for a long time. I had to rewrite the melody a couple times on it.
I know that you've been waiting. The anticipation is high. Your pupils dilating. A single tear
Love this part. I love that when you get into that a bit more. What are you saying there, Jordan?
All this time, making the prophecy happen. Self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Trying to usher in the end of the world because your ancient text tells you the world is going to end.
I love, the psychedelia.
Yeah.
Just
That's
behind it.
largely Rick.
That's largely Rick.
I kind of gave Rick some parts, and then I'm like, hey, make this sound cool. He's like, how does this sound? Like, that sounds pretty fucking good.
Rick Salt from Vancouver Island. Once again, Jordan Venn, the Slizneys, debut a new record today, Magic Words. And check it out. It's on every streaming platform. And we've been going through the songs. We're live streaming this right now. We'll put the video back out again later as well, edit it up and on Jordan's channel, which is Jordopia. You can find him on YouTube. I have YouTube Premium and I listen to all my music on YouTube. The final track on the album, Magic Words, it's out today, September 13th. Friday the 13th, out today.
Friday the 13th.
The Universe is Altered.
This one is kind of about it's an homage specifically to Gord Downey. I think is probably my all-time favorite lyricist. See, The Universe is Altered is there's a lot of poets references. There's a few other references, but poets don't tell me that the universe is altered when you find out how he gets paid. All right. What I went through when he died, it was kind of shocking to me how bummed out I was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't listen to them for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years afterwards. Yeah, it's always a bummer when somebody dies that you admire, but for some reason it kind of like felt personal, I guess and then I guess I'm trying to explore that, why that is in the song a bit, but I don't know.
Let's have a listen.
Tripped, observed, and slipped, I saw and stumbled. It was peripheral, but it tickled all my senses. It cost me so much that it ruined my expenses. The prose was flowery but prosaic all the same. It swept my mind, it stole my friends, it took my name. For the sake of the good and the true, I burn some art.
Love it, buddy. It's a great song.
Wicked.
Great album.
Thank you,
Uh,
man.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Jordan Venn and the Slizneys, and based out of Toronto. Can you mention all the people on the record again one last time here?
It's Devin Henderson, Trevor Falls, Tyler Emo, and then production and post-production, John Dinsmore recorded the drums for us. Rick Salt mixed it, Noah Mintz mastered it, and I think Lorraine S out of Italy drew the cover for us.
I'm a big fan, Jord. Obviously, we're buddies, and I look forward to your music. And I'm telling you, this is my favorite record that you've done to this date.
Wicked.
And I can't wait for more, but at the same time, I can't wait to just kind of enjoy this album for a while.
Yeah,
And
right on.
Jordan spent a lot of time as well in the past doing videos, stop motion, Lego stuff, a lot of that, which is really great, and just stop motion in general. Time Machine is obviously one of my favorites. A lot of time went into that. Birds Are Dinosaurs is another really great track that good luck getting that one out of your head. Theropod Dinosaurs, Birds Are Dinosaurs. I don't know. That one's like in my head like Yellow Submarine, honestly.
Oh yeah, great.
And
I didn't even get into much into the cladistics with that one, but
I hope people learned something.
Yeah, and but yeah, anyways, I'm a huge fan, and if you're gonna check out some songs from this one, I really like Occam's Guillotine. It's one of my favorites. Promises,
Promise, just promise.
and Surf Confessions. Surfing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Surf Confessions.
those would be my 3 recommendations off the hop. Hilarious. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Respect to Jordan Venn and the Slizneys. And I'm sorry I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. Love you, brother.